sacred hills, since before your people gave the hills their names and drew their boundaries there. I have watched your fires burn up through 10,000 winters, and never once was moved to stop and stare, until the day you stood beneath the rowan at the ridge top, with your sword put down and your eyes turned to the west. And something in the way the evening light fell on you put an ache inside this immortal chest.
She was there, I felt it, something watching from the light.
The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, stepped down from the shining world above. The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, and found that gods are not immune to love. My father's cauldron never emptied, but could not fill the space your absence made. The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, and chose the light that only mortals
the Dagda, good God of all abundance, whose cauldron feeds the world without running dry. I have never in my ageless and my shining existence been hungry for a thing I could not supply, until I stood beside you in the body of a mortal, and felt what your kind feels when seasons turn. That love is not a light that shines without consuming, but a fire that needs the fuel of hearts to burn. She is more than she appears, more than anything I know.
The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, stepped down from the shining world above. The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, and found that gods are not immune to love. My father's cauldron never emptied, but could not fill the space your absence made. The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, and chose the light that only mortals fade.
My sisters say that I will lose my light by loving, that mortal love will weather what the gods have built. But standing here between my world and yours at twilight, I find I cannot name what I would call my guilt.
What they call diminishment, I call becoming. What they call loss, I recognize as gain. And if to love you means I learn to age beside you, then I will trade my deathless for your pain.
She would give up everything for this, for me.
They will take my name from the sacred hillside. They will let my river run without a name. They will call me fallen from the shining places, but I will answer only to what you call me.
For I have stood between the worlds this evening, and I have chosen the one that holds your hand. Let the Tuatha Dé keep their endless morning. I want the nights that only mortals understand. She chose. She actually chose. She chose me.
The Dagda's daughter, loved immortal, stepped down your people named themselves beside. I am older than the names your ancestors gave me. I have carried every salmon and every secret since the first of your kind knelt beside me to see. And in 10,000 years of flowing toward the ocean, I have not paused to look at what I pass, until your net fell silver in my morning, and your reflection stopped me like a glass.
Just another morning on the river, or so I thought.
Kissed by the goddess of the river, a mortal man was touched by something more. Kissed by the goddess of the river, a love too large for any story told. The Boyne runs silver past the ancient meadows, where once a fisherman knelt down to pray. Kissed by the goddess of the river, he was never quite the same after that day.
I came to you in the form the river takes at evening, when the light goes amber and the current slows, with water in my hair and the cold of deep places in the hands I reach toward where your fishing goes. You looked at me the way no god has ever been looked at, not with terror and not with bended knee. You looked at me the way a man looks at a woman who has walked out of the river just to be. She came out of the water, and she looked at me.
Kissed by the goddess of the river, a mortal man was touched by something old. Kissed by the goddess of the river, a love too large for any story told. The Boyne runs silver past the ancient meadows, where once a fisherman knelt down to pray. Kissed by the goddess of the river, he was never quite the same after that day.
The river does not stop. This is my nature. I am made of movement and of constant going on. I cannot hold the shape your love has given me. Forever, for the river must flow on. But oh my fishermen, what you have given to a goddess who had never known the still of being held beside a fire in the evening, and wanting nothing more and never will. She will go back. I always knew she would go back.
When you stand beside my water in the autumn and watch the salmon come home from the sea, press your hand into the current for a moment, and I will press back as much as river can be. I cannot hold the shape you left me in forever. A river ends a promise always kept by moving on. But every time your net falls in the morning, I will carry it gently until you are gone.
She's in the river still. Every
after that day. Were burning on the hilltops, and the harvest had been gathered rich and deep. I had danced the festival since I was a girl child, and thought I knew every face the village keeps. But something changed the quality of the firelight around the hour when the dancing reaches high, as if a different sun had come down to the festival and was looking at me through a different sky.
There among all the faces of the festival, there
lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the long arm of the sun god reaching down. Lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the most golden love the august world has found. And Lugh saw the web, the fires are burning, and the grain is gathered in from every field. Lose light on a mortal face at harvest is the most abundant thing the God can yield.
They say that Lugh, the long arm, brings the harvest, that the golden light of August is his hand, that every grain that fills the barn in autumn was placed there by a God who understands the value of abundance and of beauty in the living world his people tend below. I did not know a God could leave his heaven and walk the festival until the embers glow. She does not know me yet, she will know me.
Lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the long arm of the sun god reaching down. Lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the most golden love the august world has found. And Lugh saw the web, the fires are burning, and the grain is gathered in from every field. Lose light on a mortal face at harvest is the most abundant thing the God can yield. He stood beside me when the fires were lowest, when only the most faithful dancers stayed, and said my name the way the light says morning, the way the harvest gold is newly made. And I who had believed in gods as distant as the sun is distant from the turning earth, discovered in the ember light of Lugh what the ancient harvest festivals are worth.
She heard me say her name, and she was not afraid.
Every August now the light falls differently on the fields I walk and the river where I stand. There is a quality the harvest season carries that I know belongs to a more than mortal hand.
He told me that the light of every Lugh was the only way that he could touch my world.
And so I stand in August light with open arms and let the God of harvest be unfurled.
Every harvest I am there, in every golden thing.
Lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the long arm of the sun god reaching down. Lose light on a mortal face at harvest, the most golden love the august world has found. And Lugh saw the web, He came to me on a white horse from the ocean, with hair like winter sunlight on the wave. He said he was a prince of Tir Nannog, and that he wanted everything I gave.
He said the land he came from knew no sorrow, that the apple trees bore blossom all the year.
And I, who had grown up with Irish winters,
asked him only this: is love the same out there? The same, more than the same. Everything is love there.
Bride of the ever-young, what did you find there in the land where nothing ages and none grieve? Bride of the ever-young, what did you carry of the mortal world you were not sure you'd leave?
I found a love so perfect it was painful,
like a note held longer than a voice can hold. Bride of the ever-young knows this above all, that to love completely you must both grow.
the ever-young land is every color deeper than the colors that your mortal world can make. The music there has notes that have no ending, and the food is every sweetness without ache.
But in among the beauty and the plenty, I began to feel a different kind of cold.
For he stays forever at the age I met him, and I cannot share the grace of growing old. What is this thing she wants that I cannot give her?
Bride of the ever-young, what did you find there in the land where nothing ages and none grieve? Bride of the ever-young, what did you carry of the mortal world you were not sure you'd leave?
I found a love so perfect it was painful,
like a note held longer than a voice can hold. Bride of the ever-young knows this above all, that to love completely you must both grow. He cannot know the kindness of the wrinkle, the tenderness of hands grown slow with years.
he will not know the beauty of the elder, who has earned their face through joy and pain and tears.
And I love him with a love that has no measure, but I am built of seasons and of change.
And loving someone who can never alter
Is the sweetest and the most impossible range.
she needs what I cannot become, and I love her for needing it.
I stand at the edge where his ocean meets my island, with one foot in the ever-young and one on mortal ground.
And I think the space between the two worlds is the most beautiful and the most broken sound.
For I love him past the point of any leaving, and I love what I was and takes them both away.
Stay or go, I love you in either world.
Bride of the ever-young, what did you find there?
In the land where nothing ages,
And ungrieved. Bride of the ever-young, what did you carry? Of the mortal world you were not sure you'd leave.
I found a love so perfect it was painful.
Like a note held longer than a voice can hold. Bride of the ever-young knows this above all, that to love completely you must both grow. He came to me in the blue hour before the morning, when the shitty mounds are open to the air, and said he had been watching me across the seasons, and that he had a promise he would bear.
He said he could give me the gift of endless morning, that I need never face the final dark.
And I looked at him across the blue hour threshold and asked him what it cost to make that mark.
What does it cost? I have not counted. Should I have counted?
The city Lord's promise was a gift of forever, but forever took away the need to feel. The city Lord's promise was meant for adoration, but endless time makes nothing quite as real.
He gave me every dawn without a final.
He gave me every season without end. The city Lord's promise was the most loving gesture
That quietly broke.
what it was trying to mend.
He gave me the drink of the ever-young at moonrise, and I felt the mortal winter leave my bones.
I felt the gray that waits for me in futures, retreat like frost retreats from warming stones.
But with it went the urgency of loving, the fierce necessity of now or never gone.
When you have all the time can offer, you find there is less reason to hold on.
I gave her all of time, and time undid what made her.
The city Lord's promise was a gift of forever, but forever took away the need to feel. The city Lord's promise was meant for adoration, but endless time makes nothing quite as real.
He gave me every dawn without a final.
He gave me every season without end. The city Lord's promise was the most loving gesture
That quietly broke
was trying to mend.
For what I lost when he gave me the endless morning
was not my age, my gray, my mortal fear,
but the beautiful and terrible swift knowing
that everything I love is only here.
For now, for this breath, for this particular morning,
before the world moves on and changes space,
it was my mortality that made me love him,
and immortality has taken that grace.
I tried to give her everything and gave her nothing.
Give me back my winters and my endings.
Give me back the love
that has to fight for time.
Give me back the way
I looked at morning,
when morning was a gift
and not a right of mine.
I will trade his endless gift of ever young back
for one single ordinary numbered day,
where I love you like the last light loves the evening,
before the dark comes in to take the day away.
Take it back, I will take it all back. Just come back to me.
The sea, the Lord's promise, was a gift of forever, but forever took away the need to feel. The sea, the Lord's promise, was meant for adoration, but endless time makes nothing quite as real.
He gave me every dawn without a final.
He gave me every season without end. The sea, the Lord's promise, was the most loving gesture
that quietly broke
what it was trying to mend. They said, do not go near the fairy mound at Samhain. They said, do not listen when you hear the sound of music moving through the dark of October, from somewhere underneath the sacred ground.
But I had heard that music since my childhood, and every Samhain it was harder to resist, until the year I followed it past midnight into the golden light inside the mist. A mortal has come through, and she is not afraid.
She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and came back changed in ways no words contain. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and left a piece of her heart in their refrain.
The world outside the mountain kept right on turning.
The 7 years had grayed the one she knew. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and one of them danced home inside her too.
The shining ones are not what the stories tell you. They are not cold, and they are not unkind. They dance as if the music is a living thing that moves through them the way light moves through wine.
And one among them danced beside me closely, with eyes the color of the deep October sky. And I forgot that I was not their equal, and I forgot to ask the reason why.
She dances as though she was born to dance with us.
She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and came back changed in ways no words contain. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and left a piece of her heart in their refrain. The world outside the mountain kept right on turning. The 7 years had grayed the one she knew. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and one of them danced home inside her too.
They say that mortal time runs fast beside them, that one night in the dance is 7 years. But when he walked me to the mountain's threshold, I found I could not calculate my tears.
For 7 years of grief at what I'd left behind, against one night of love among the shining, was not the mathematics I had feared.
I cannot follow her into her world. This is the price.
Every sign when the mist comes down at midnight, I stand beside the mound and press my ear against the ground and listen for the music that only those who've been inside can hear.
And sometimes when the wind is from the westward, and the veil between the worlds is at its thin,
I hear him dance his way to just below the surface,
and I dance above him, and we begin again. She hears me every Samhain.
she hears me. Oh, she danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and came back changed in ways no words contain. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and left a piece of her heart in their refrain. The world outside the mountain kept right on turning. The 7 years had grayed the one she knew. She danced with the shining ones at Samhain, and one of them danced home inside her too. I came across the water on the white horse to find you. I had heard of you in Tirnanock before I came. They spoke of how you sang and how you loved your Ireland, and I crossed the whole Atlantic for your name.
The Fianna watched me come across the morning ocean.
Your father Fionn stood silent on the shore, and you alone stepped forward from among the warriors, as if you had been waiting at that door.
She came for me. Across all that ocean, she came for me.
Oisín remembers Niamh at the ocean, where the white horse carried love across the foam. Oisín remembers Niamh in the twilight of the 300 years they called their home.
She is golden hair and light, and ever young land.
He is Ireland and the Fianna and the clay. Oisín remembers Niamh at the ocean, and the white horse carries that love to this day.
I gave you everything the ever young could offer. 300 years of love without the cold. But I watched you stand and look toward the eastern ocean, with the face of someone aching to grow old.
You miss the mud and struggle of your Ireland. You miss the Fianna and their mortal fires. And I, who loved you past all my understanding, could not compete with what your homeland inspires.
Niamh, Ireland, Niamh, Ireland, how does a man choose?
Oisín remembers Niamh at the ocean, where the white horse carried love across the foam. Oisín remembers Niamh in the twilight of the 300 years they called their home.
She is golden hair and light, and ever young land.
He is Ireland and the Fianna and the clay. Oisín remembers Niamh at the ocean, and the white horse carries that love to this day.
I gave you the white horse and my warning that your feet must never touch the Irish ground.
For if you step down from the horse of the ever young, 300 years will fall upon you without sound.
You promised me you would not leave the saddle.
You promised me you would look and then return.
And I stood on the shore of the ever young and watched you
Cross back to the world I could not enter.
and I burn the ground. It rises up. Niamh, I am falling, Niamh.
The white horse came back without him to my shore, and I knew before I asked what it would tell, that the grass of Ireland had received my warrior, and 3 centuries had broken like a spell.
I stand at the edge of ever young and call him.
Across the Atlantic on the western wind, for love does not observe the laws of Andes, and I am still the one who crossed for him.
Niamh, I am here. I am always here. I remember.
Oisín remembers Niamh at the ocean, where the white horse carried love across the foam. Oisín remembers Niamh in the twilight of the 300 years they called their home.
She is golden hair and light, and ever young land.
He is Ireland to this day. He had never wept before the night I found him, kneeling in the grass beside the autumn loch, a god of the Tuatha Dé, with his face in his hands and something in his shoulders that the immortal world forgot. He had watched a mortal child die in the morning, had watched the mother hold what had been hers, and something in the watching broke a door inside him that had been sealed since before the world's first years.
This feeling, I have no name for this. Is this what they carry?
The god wept mortal tears beside the water, and the world has never been the same. The god wept mortal tears beside the water, when love taught him grief and gave that grief a name. The Tuatha Dé can move the stars and seasons, can fill the sacred cauldron to the brim, but the god wept mortal tears beside the water, and a mortal woman dried them up for him.
I sat beside him without any particular wisdom, just the ordinary courage of a mortal hand, placed gently on the shoulder of a weeping god, who had finally learned to understand
that love without the knowledge of its ending is a song played in a room where no one dies. And it was I who held the god of the Tuatha Dé while he learned to cry.
She held me, a mortal held me, and I let her.
The god wept mortal tears beside the water, and the world has never been the same. The god wept mortal tears beside the water, when love taught him grief and gave that grief a name. The Tuatha Dé can move the stars and seasons, can fill the sacred cauldron to the brim, but the god wept mortal tears beside the water, and a mortal woman dried them up for him.
He said the tears felt like the first true rain on ground that had been waiting since the world began, that everything he thought he understood of loving had been a map without the actual land.
He said my kind were braver than the Tuatha Dé, to love inside the knowledge of the clock,
and that the god who wept beside the autumn loch
was learning what his people had forgot.
She taught me, a mortal woman taught me what love costs.
Now he comes to me in every form of autumn, in the rain that comes when summer loses ground, in the way the light falls lower in September, in every place where endings can be found.
He says that I have given him the greatest gift that any god has ever been
love so fiercely when the clock is always ticking.
Always love. She gave me grief, and grief gave me love.
Real love.
The god wept mortal tears beside the water,
And the world has never been the same.
the god wept mortal tears beside the water,
When love taught him grief and gave that grief a name.
the Tuatha Dé can move the stars and seasons,
Can fill the sacred cauldron to the brim.
but the god wept mortal tears beside the water,
And a mortal woman dried them up for him.
the god wept mortal tears beside the water,
And the world has never been the same.
the god wept mortal tears beside the water,
When love taught him grief and gave that grief a name.
The Tuatha Dé can move the stars and seasons,
Can fill the sacred cauldron to the brim. But the god wept mortal tears beside the water, And a mortal woman dried them up for him. I was born between the mound and the morning, with one foot in the shining and one in the clay. Too mortal for the Tuatha Dé to claim me, too divine for the human world to say that I belonged among them without question, too luminous to pass entirely unknown, half divine and half the breaking kind of lovely that cannot find a country for its home.
She is more than she knows. I see both. I want both.
Half divine, half breaking, but still standing, found at last by someone who could see. Half divine, half breaking, but still shining in the light of someone loving all of me.
I had walked between the worlds without a country,
Had knocked on every door and been refused. Half divine, half breaking, but still standing, finally home in you.
You see, thee called me lesser for my mortal portion. The village called me strange for what I shown. I have stood in every doorway of belonging and been gently turned back to be alone. I have tried to dim the light that frightens people. I have tried to feel more cold than I am built, but the divine in me refuses to stop shining, and the mortal in me carries all the guilt. Don't dim it, please don't dim it. I see you, all of you.
finally home in you.
And then you said the thing that broke me open. You said I was the most complete thing you had known. That where I saw division, you saw wholeness. That where I felt in exile, you felt home.
You said the God in me made sense of the mortal, and the mortal made the God in me make sense. And I, who had been half my whole life breaking, let down the last fence.
I want every part of what she is.
I am the daughter of a god and a woman who loved each other past the point of sense. I am the living proof that love between the worlds is worth every cost and consequence.
And you who are entirely and completely mortal have done what neither world could do alone.
You made the half-divine feel fully human, and the half-mortal feel entirely known.
Entirely known, yes. That is exactly what I wanted for her.
Half divine, half breaking, but still standing. Found at last by someone who could see. Half divine, half breaking, but still shining in the light of someone loving all of me. I had walked between the worlds without a country, had knocked on every door and been refused. Half divine, half breaking, but still standing. Finally home in you. I have flown above 10,000 fields of battle as crow and raven and the red-mouthed queen. I have watched the bravest warriors break and crumble when they looked upon my face and what it means.
Every hero flinches when I come to find them. Every chieftain pales when ravens fill the sky. You were the first in all my ancient existence who looked at me and did not wonder why. She expected me to run. I had no wish to run.
The Morrigan has a tender side beneath the crowings and the battle cry. The Morrigan has a tender side discovered in the light of your unfrightened eye. I have moved through war and death and ancient prophecy, but nothing in my power prepared me for this. The Morrigan has a tender side,
And you are the only one
who knows it exists.
I am sovereignty and battle I am prophecy. I am the washer at the ford of fated men. I have never once been offered simple kindness, or been looked at as though I could be a friend. You asked me in the body of a gray-eyed woman if I was cold, and offered me your fire, and something in me that had only known dominion discovered what it meant to feel desire. All her faces, I saw them all, and loved them all. The Morrigan has a tender side beneath the crowings and the battle cry. The Morrigan has a tender side discovered in the light of your unfrightened eye. I have moved through war and death and ancient prophecy, but nothing in my power prepared me for this. The Morrigan has a tender side, and you are the only one who knows it exists. They will say the Morrigan cannot feel tenderness, that the battle queen is all iron and all crow. But love is the one battle I had never entered, the one field where my power does not go. For what you do to me is not a conquest. You have not won me with a sword or strategy. You have simply stood beside me without flinching, and let the tender thing inside me be. Let the tender thing be. Let it live. I am here.
Do not tell the warriors at their fires that the queen of battle weeps in the dark of night. Do not tell the ravens what I am without you, how the darkness feels without your particular light.
I have been the terror and the prophecy of ending. I have been the crow above the dying field.
But here beside you in the ordinary evening,
I am only what your steady love
revealed.
I will tell no one. This is only ours.
The Morrigan has a tender side beneath the crowings and the battle cry. The Morrigan has a tender side discovered in the light of your unfrightened eye. I have moved through war and death and ancient prophecy, but nothing in my power prepared me for this. The Morrigan has a tender side, and you are the only one who knows it exists.